The Spin-Off Podcast Network.
This is Kiwi is back for a brand new season with more inspiring kōrero from special guests including rugby player, father and role model TJ Perenara.
My family bring me joy. Rugby brings me joy too, but it's not the same joy as my family brings me.
And global dancer and choreographer Kirsten Dodgen.
For some reason, people think I'm very intimidating.
Listen to the new season of This is Kiwi, brought to you by the Spin-Off Podcast Network in collaboration with KiwiBank. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Talo for Lover. I'm Madeline Chapman, editor at The Spin-Off. If you have the means, consider supporting our high-quality journalism by becoming a Spin-Off member. Sign up now at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
Sadly, you're both frozen. I can hear you. You sound beautiful, but
Can you see us at all? Are we moving or are we still frozen?
I can see you, but you're frozen. You're very blurry, almost like you watched the video in The Ring about 7 days ago.
I think that's a good vibe. Kia ora e te whānau. Welcome to The Real Pod. My name's Jane Yee. I'm joined by Duncan Greive in studio and Alex Casey in Christchurch. How are you, Alex?
Kia ora, Jane. I'm very well.
How are you, Dunk?
I'm okay. I'm sort of in this kind of going away for a long time kind of pocket where I'm just trying to make a lot of things happen. Also, just been out a lot lately, which we'll get to.
Okay.
Because which has been great, but it just takes it out of you, you know.
The pair of you have lived a life in this last week, and I have been on the couch.
Jealous.
I got nothing to report. But anyway, hi Samuel. Samuel's in the room too.
Hi.
And before we start, Samuel's got a corny interaction.
Yeah, sorry, Jane. Well, specifically sorry to Jane, but I saw another corny in the wild. My beautiful flatmate's best friend Phoebe just wanted to give a shout out. Stayed with us on the weekend and sitting down in the living room at like 2 o'clock in the morning. They'd just gotten back from a party. I was still awake. She turns to me and she goes, "I need to tell you something."
Mm.
She's like, "I really love The Real Pod."
Oh, that's so sweet.
so
it's not the line, but it's very,
No,
very
yeah,
sweet.
I am docking
better.
points for not saying I'm a corny, and I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, we're all on a journey. I still haven't heard those words slip from anyone's lips.
That is wild.
Alex sent me a video from a corny that she ran into, like quite a fancy corny. There's a subset of cornies that are the fancies. And this
There's
was a
kind of the
fancy that you ran
Illuminati.
into.
There's the Illuminati cornies who you find in really surprising, quite glitzy rooms. I had two at the Voyager Media Awards. The first being Rebecca Barrow, who approached me quite early on in the evening and said, "I'm so sad Jane's not here because I have something to tell you. I'm a corny and I'm sorry." So then I got a video of her, I guess like a cameo, if you will, and sent that to Jane. And then lovely Beth came up to me after the ceremony, which we will discuss because it was rich content, to just dissect the whole evening, and of course opened with "I'm a corny and I'm sorry." So just to have that kind of bookend the night. I mean, those nights are very stressful. If you're like socially anxious, it's a nightmare. So just to have this sort of, to know that there were cornies out there really made a tremendous difference.
It's a corn sandwich, a corn hug even. Around your night.
Cornbread, yeah.
Rebecca Barrow actually, assumingly, like invented the Canon camera. She actually got up and presented an award on behalf of Canon, who sponsored a photography award.
Wow.
I know, like that's proper flash.
Yeah.
Flash corny. And a good pun on camera.
Very good pun.
Accidental one. Now it's time for the real news. Alex won a thing.
Don't make me sing.
let's have a little pucky for Alex. Congratulations. What was it? Best
kind.
lifestyle reporting? Was that
Best lifestyle reporting? An honour. You know, a category that I actually am very proud to represent. I think it's quite a derided, underrated part of journalism. So that was a real honour. But what made me even prouder was to be mere moments before the award was announced, I was completely doused in LMP.
From could never.
from a server. So this is a hack. If you're at one of these events and everyone's drinking and you're not, and you don't want to be harangued with questions, and congratulations on your pregnancy, which, whatever. Drink L&P. Drink L&P in a champagne flute. Nobody asks questions, and it's actually quite nice to just have L&P. You never really go out of your way to have that kind of a drink. So this is what I was doing, but I had to do sort of a bespoke order over my shoulder. And Mad heard me do it, and she wanted one too. So then the server came back with not one, but 2 L&Ps in a flute, which she hadn't dealt with yet. That was new for her. So immediately wobbled, spilled all the way down my left-hand side and Mad's right-hand side. And then it was like, and the winner is Alex Casey.
I feel like that's perfect.
So perfect.
Thankfully, we didn't have to go up. Normally in the Voyagers, in advance what's a speech and what's not. But this year they tried to keep everything sort of a little bit of a surprise. But you do get sort of filmed with a roaming kind of Oscars camera. And I was like hastily, drying myself with napkins and sitting on a huge wad of napkins, almost like a puppy, like a pee pad.
We've all been there. We've all been there. Look, Alex, I was watching the live stream from home, and the roving camera person wasn't drinking L&P. I'll tell you that much. It was like Blair Witch at the Voyagers. It was madness.
It's a big room to navigate.
Seemingly
to be fair.
one camera person.
I think so.
Because it was just like it seemed like every time someone was announced and they'd had to cut to them, this person was like racing from the other side of the room. It was quite the wild ride from home, I have to say. But just a huge congratulations, well deserved.
So well deserved.
The voice of God commented. The judges said that you had a unique voice, which I think sums you up nicely.
But I think it's true. I mean, what you said about like being proud of this denigrated category, like you can. I think that's why I'm so stoked for you, because like the way that you and we try and do this across the spin-off, but particularly is do lifestyle reporting is to take it seriously and find stories there. And I think that there's almost like an unspoken kind of grouchiness at almost the idea of lifestyle, but you can actually make it really, really profound and funny and illuminating, and you did that. So well done, Alex.
I think as well, you're almost like regenerating the whole genre, because when you think about lifestyle categories on other unnamed media outlets, it's always like 25% of men do this in bed and just stuff that they've just gotten from crap surveys.
To be clear, I don't. Like it's just a
you're
vicious
paying 75. But we love you and we love your writing. And once again, Alex, we're in awe of you.
Oh, shush.
But not as much as in awe of Mike Puru. Sorry, I'm moving on. Mike Puru.
No, please do, because this is what I was going to say. As great as it was to win an award, I felt like I had already won, because we sat down, we didn't know who was hosting, and it was like, please welcome your hosts, Petra Baggis and Mike Puru. And my first thought was I heard Mike and I was like, McRobert. So I was clapping and I was like, whoa, this is exciting. And then when I realized, I rose out of my chair like I was possessed. It was just the dream host. Like, we've been talking about Mike Puru for so long. And in the week leading up to the Voyagers, I had multiple conversations with people saying, we need Mike on that stage. And it happened. And boy, was he good.
He just gave it everything in a way that only Mike can. Like, and I think for a lot of people hosting the Voyagers, it's another gig, like
it seems like a really hard,
it's a brutal gig,
horrible gig, because you're in a room full of critics,
it's like 600, like kind of, and they're not just like ordinary media people. They're like grouchy print journalists for the most part,
and they're all very cool and take themselves very seriously.
I don't know about that.
Well, not all of them,
but certainly, like it is a notoriously tough crowd, and but Mike's just sort of boyish exuberance and just radiated excitement over the thing was so gorgeous, culminating in. I mean, you take it away, Alex.
it's hard to put into words. I recorded the whole thing. I don't even know at what point in the ceremony it happened, but I just feel like there was my life before Mike Puru's New Zealand media themed musical number and after Mike Puru's New Zealand media themed musical number. He interrupted Petra, which I don't know if that was like arranged, but said, look, there's something I've always wanted to do. I need to give myself this Neil Patrick Harris moment. And then launched into a 3-minute bespoke themed song to
original
the tune
song.
of Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, but all about the media merger, the spin-off. It was incredible. I felt like I had been shot point blank in the head. I was just so stunned by the whole thing. And he gave it hell. And he was roaming around the room. The camera person was following him, and he was sweaty, and he was dancing, and he was just he left it all out on the floor. It was just him.
He did. And when you think about like that gig, tough crowd, as I say, your fee is your fee. You don't get more for doing an original song, for spending a long, long time writing some music and then having the absolute sheer quaking nightmare that is having to sing it in front of this real rough old crowd.
He had lyrics to remember, and they were sandwiched into this song that is not the easiest to sandwich bespoke lyrics into.
What a guy.
I was really at home watching it. The highlight of my night, aside from you winning your award, Alex, was Mike Puru directly going up to the camera. And I know that you guys had big screens in the room, so you got to enjoy this as well. But at home, it felt like he was singing to me, which was a really nice touch, because everything else, all of the other coverage was to the room, and this was to me. And it was I just think he thought of everyone, he thought of the cast and the crew, and he just ate the sandwich in the middle. He's just, and I kind of thought, I worried that in the room people might be laughing. And I was like, if they're laughing, they don't deserve to be there.
Well, I mean, some were, but I don't think that he was unaware that this would cause joy and mirth,
Pure joy for me, pure 100% joy. I defend the man till the day I die. I just think he's a cracking human.
Yeah, it was a special thing.
We got to catch up with him afterwards to congratulate him on his tremendous success over the course of the night. And he revealed that he had actually initially planned for there to be sing-along lyrics on the screen. So it would be like a karaoke situation. But, and I quote, the guy couldn't do them fast enough. So that just gives you an idea of just the sheer sort of density of the lyrics.
Had there been sing-along lyrics, which would have been the loudest table singing along, do you think?
I mean, maybe table 2. We were table 1. Table 2 had Callum Henderson and Hayden Donnell on it, who are both also really enjoying it and in close proximity to one another. And I think they might have, just got there to edge us out. But I certainly think there would have been no noise at all from the other 38 or 58 tables.
There was certainly a standing ovation, at least from table 1. I know that I was out of my seat. Man-high, I was out of a seat. I think, Duncan, you were out of your seat, weren't you?
Of course I was out of my seat. I wouldn't just disgrace my seat with my bum during a post-Mike Puru situation. Jesus.
You will you surely find footage of that online somewhere. I mean, I know Alex has got it, but surely someone else had the presence of mind to record it and put it up on the internet. If not, sucks to be you. I realised that we've kind of... I didn't even do any housekeeping at the time. We've got actually quite massive housekeeping to talk about this week.
Well, should we save it for the end?
Well, I just feel like that might be a bit of a shock. Do you think? I don't know.
Did most people get to the end? Okay. What's the drop-off?
I think that it's an Easter egg because the Cornies will distribute it.
I'm very proud to say that this here podcast has the greatest listen-through rate of any podcast in the Spin-Off Podcast Network, possibly in the country, because we are between like 98 and weirdly 104% every single time. And we get to 104% by people re-listening, that's magic. So keep up the good work, Cornies. You're doing a great job.
And stick around because we got some news.
We got some really big news, but it's good news, so don't freak out.
But it's really big.
Huge.
And it will change everything.
Everything. Nothing.
Well,
stays the same.
Why not?
Well, not everything. But anyway, We'll get there. Let's suffice to say we had a strategy meeting last week. Okay, that's all I'll say. Anyway, I thought I was going to be hanging out with Dame Susan this weekend.
Whoa.
But I am not. And the reason is I've gotten really crap at checking my Instagram messages, and I logged in there yesterday and got a message from her saying, hey, if you're around on Saturday, come for a walk, because she was doing this walk to raise money around the Domain, like 57 kilometres or something ridiculous. And I was like, cool, yeah, great idea. See you Saturday. She was like, that was last weekend.
Oh.
The message had been sat there
No.
for days and days, and I missed it.
Snubbed her.
Not on purpose. And I made myself look like an idiot, like I wasn't across her good charity work, which I wasn't. Anyway, so real potted that. Sorry, Dame Susan.
You did.
What about you and your celebrities?
Well, I probably I think respectfully, had the biggest haul of the weekend. Because after the Voyager Awards, where you get a lot of celebrity interactions, you get a bit of Sam Hayes, and I had a shed a laugh with the broadcasting minister, Willie Jackson. It was great times. But Hamilton, I went to the Hamilton premiere, curiously 2 days after it had opened at Spark Arena on the Sunday.
Oh, I saw Hamilton. I thought you were in Hamilton. I was like, wow, a million celebrities in Hamilton.
That has been this unexpectedly fun joke for everyone who's been to Hamilton so far. I got a second helping of the media insider, Shane Curry, 2 nights in a row. That's an absolute joy.
Never have curry 2 nights in a row.
Hey! But it was so Colin Matora Jeffrey, lovely hug, wearing a blanket, looked good.
Cozy.
He could really pull off a blanket.
And put it on.
Yep. Moses, the Bachelor.
Was he not starring in Hamilton? That would make sense to me.
He could have. Man, there were so many. It was quite ridiculous, and here I am, sort of running out of them.
It's because often when you reach
it was
hard to
overwhelming. I saw
remember.
Molly, ex-bachelor, who actually works for people of influence. I saw Brodie Kane.
Wow.
Big chat to Brodie Kane. Was sat just in front of Jesse Mulligan, and just sort of yay here to Greg Bruce from Canvas, but who was himself right next to the biggest celebrity couple of them all. Well, no, not quite, but the biggest that I saw, Barry Soper and Heather Duplessis. And there were 2 seats right next to me, and I was like, please God, let it be Mike Hosking and Kate Hawkesby. Like, it just felt right, like we were in that kind of realm. But alas, the seats remained empty the whole time. Maybe they just turned up and was like, not him.
It probably
Maybe
was
the helicopter couldn't find somewhere to land. Yeah.
But yeah, so I saw Jess from Celebrity Treasure Island. Like, there was just it was just everywhere all the time. Like I'll remember a bunch as we go through the podcast and just keep blurting them out. But great audio.
Everyone, everywhere, all at once.
Yeah.
Except for
Can
the
I
2
just
seats
say,
next to
though,
you.
I am happy for you, Duncan, but I do feel like it's a cheat when you're going to a premiere. I would just like to add a few more that I saw in the wild, completely untethered from any sort of glitzy VIP event. I saw Duncan Garner buying a Gatorade at the dairy.
No.
That's good.
Duncan Gatorade.
I saw Julian Dennison eating a pie at Blue Rose. Like, that's a megawatt. That's Deadpool 2.
Sometimes
That's Deadpool 2, man.
I'm like, are you just making these up?
I think.
I've got sources. I've got sources. You can cross-reference.
Okay. Those are amazing. And look, I agree it's a cheat code, but it still happened. It's not like I'm claiming them as like in the wilds. In the wilds, you get 10x the value. But it is to be in those rooms, like that was actually quite sweet, because it was like, oh, this reminds me of what it was like before the pandemic, when you'd just go out and there'd be all these like quite rando famous people everywhere.
In terms of Hamilton as a show, I mean, obviously the true show was all the people around you, but in terms of Hamilton, the show, my gauge as to whether or not it's a good show is based on this question. Did you fall asleep, Dunk?
No, and when you think about it, I had a late night at the Voyagers the night before, and it's a 3-hour musical theatre extravaganza.
And no one sitting next to you to make you feel the pressure of staying awake.
Well, no, I had Nikki, but on the other side, no one. But yeah, I mean, no, not at all. Like I had a magic time. I thought it was a great show. I mean, I'm sure there's a big discourse that I've missed out on, but quite happy to. I went in totally cold, like had never I'd never watched it or even seen little clippy bits of it. I had a feeling I'd like it because, like politics and hip hop, and just really good. Really good. Recommend it.
Do you think Hamilton City is bummed they didn't get the copyright on a musical named Hamilton? Starring Melly Mallard, who has popped up, by the way, in the Real Pod Corner. That's a real Easter egg.
Like joined.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
Remember when the contestant who dreamed up Melly the Mallard as Hamilton's mascot made an Instagram account for it? I bet that's quiet these days. But no, someone was asking, like, what's Hamilton's mascot again? There was something about a duck. And we were like, it was a fake mascot, but nice to think that it's like cemented itself in your mind as a real thing.
Kia ora, I'm Duncan Greive, founder of The Spinoff. You can help us keep all of The Spinoff's award-winning journalism free for everybody by becoming a member today at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
Are you curious about how business can be better? I'm Simon Pound, and I host Business is Boring, a podcast where I kōrero with some of the most interesting people in entrepreneurship, commerce, and making things happen. Tune in to Business is Boring every Tuesday, brought to you by the Spinoff Podcast Network in partnership with Spark Business Lab.
We'll sashay over into reality check, but not without reminding you to stick around for this whole episode for the big news at the end. Back soon.
I have 4 weeks to decide if I'm going to drop my entire life in.
I am disgusted at how much you have copied my husband.
Did you just buy? Don't even.
Reality check.
I've watched nothing at all, so I'm just gonna Homer Simpson back into the bush and let you guys take over here.
Well, I can talk about the new season of The Kardashians. Duncan, have you watched the new season of The Kardashians?
I have not. I'm bad.
I mean,
That's all
I'm
right.
always interested in Kardashians news, so
But I
go
want the
for it.
update.
Well, look, it's returned. So we're into the 3rd season now of the big Hulu Disney Plus reboot. And I watched it one night. I couldn't sleep. It was maybe like 1 a.m. And it made me feel so sad. It's like this crazy. The first thing that's really obvious is that all of these women are shrinking. Like beyond, they're already very tiny women, and they are half the size they used to be, and it's very scary. And they're all miserable. Like they're all just going through the worst possible things ever, and they're trying to engineer these sort of fun situations. Like Kendall has a party to celebrate her tequila turning some age, and there's like a guy in a jetpack who delivers a tequila from one end of the lawn to the other. But it just feels so
And it starts right now.
and a jetpack should be the funniest thing you've ever seen. We know this.
I mean, it is. We know this.
But it's just so bleak. Like this kind of engineering these novelty situations. I don't know. I think it's kind of fascinating to check in with them if you haven't seen it in a while, just to see kind of where they're at. They're just obviously oozing wealth. Kim Kardashian has this giant empty beige house, and she's got psoriasis. And it's just like, I don't know. I think it's fascinating. I just highly recommend, if you haven't checked in with them for a little bit, go and see how they're doing, because I'm worried.
Can you give me the TLDR on like where each of them are at this point in the season? Because I kind of have dipped out of Kardashian news. So last I heard, like Travis and Courtney were trying for a baby. They'd recently gotten married. Tristan was, what was he doing? He was having babies with other people, and Chloe was finding out, even though she thought that they were working on their relationship. Chris was having a hip replacement.
And Chloe has just welcomed another son to a surrogate, to Tristan, and there's this whole kind of narrative about how she doesn't like connect with the son at all, and it's just really grim. Travis and Courtney have given up on IVF and are returning to El Natural, so there's a lot of that, them kind of running off for 15-minute intervals, which I guess is sort of fun. It's sort of fun for the first few times, but then it just starts to be like, I don't know. Kim has broken up with Pete and is going, and I think the show has kind of dropped in as Kanye's having, the ultimate Kanye sort of moment in public. So she's sort of combusting. What's Kylie doing? It teases that Kylie thinks they should maybe think about the impact that they have had on young women at some point in the season.
Whoa.
And she's going to dissolve her fillers. So got that to look forward to. Kendall, of course, is talking about how it's such a struggle being a CEO in the alcohol industry. I'm just kind of like, there is nothing for any of us to grab onto here, you know? Like, for anyone who's not a Kardashian, there's nothing relatable on this program anymore, apart from Kim's psoriasis.
That is a great little rundown. Thank you. I really enjoyed that.
Really good, yeah.
It actually makes me want to watch it. There's been a new Taskmaster cast announced. Alex?
Very exciting.
No, not Alex. Alex isn't. Are you? You're not in there, are you?
No, not to my knowledge. Di Henwood, Mel Bracewell, 2 O'Learys, Karen and Ray, which is very exciting to me, and Bubba, who I think is terrific. I've got high hopes for this cast. Particularly excited about Ray O'Leary, who I think is, a real wildcat.
When's that starting? Don't know. Look it up. Google
I don't know.
it
I don't actually know if I'm allowed to say. I don't know. I don't know. Let's cut that out. And the answer is I don't know.
What we do know is that there's a lot of great locally made reality television coming up this year that we can all look forward to. It's Taskmaster, the Traders first season of New Zealand Traders, which inside word is it's looking really good. But that's inside word from the people who are making it, so I assume that they will.
But they tend to be pretty reliable, I reckon.
Yeah. Like, it just goes quiet, if it's not good.
Yeah, and if you ask them, they'll sort of, some network people I find, I mean, you're talking about production company people. I find network people can be pretty honest about whether it's a bang or if it's just fine.
I actually just had a random message from someone whom I don't know if they're related to the show on my Instagram, just being like, you are going to love the Traders. Yeah, so I don't actually know if my source came from inside the production or the network or perhaps the cast. No idea. We shall see. Cast your minds back 25 years to an island of treasure, because this week, 25 years ago, Treasure Island started.
Is it?
Yeah.
Have we got any coverage?
Well, we do here on The Real Pod, obviously.
That's great.
We do. Tara Ward has looked back at the 25 craziest moments from 25 years of island-based mayhem.
To do.
So that's coming on.
Do you think?
Thursday.
Am I in there? Did I do anything crazy?
I don't think you did anything
I didn't do anything
enough.
crazy enough.
You might have made the list. The puzzle blowing down.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. Oh my
It
God.
was crazy.
I have a visceral reaction when I think about it.
It's just injustice.
But yes, 25 years ago, Treasure Island started. The winner of the $25,000. I didn't put this in the notes. I feel greedy reading it out. Are you happy with me continuing, Alex, or would you like to take over?
No, you do it. I can't open the notes because my laptop's going to die.
If Alex disappears, it's because she's on low percent and she left her charger in Auckland. The 24-year-old kitchen fitter called Levi Bowen with a nipple ring, he won.
He won with a nipple ring, or he happened to have a nipple ring and won?
No, he happened to have one. I don't think there was a nipple ring contestant on the show specifically. But anyway, it's good clarification. Every 5 days, people were eliminated. Every 5 days. That's such a long time.
God, I just love old TV when they just had all the time in the world.
Even better, they were eliminated by doing a trivia test on a chunky laptop.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember, and that sparked my memories.
It's so good.
When I read that, I can remember them sat at this little laptop.
And they're filling out like a very basic, it looks like a spreadsheet. Like it looks like an Excel spreadsheet, and they're all huddled around this very chunky laptop answering questions about like, is the capital of Fiji? And that's what sends you home. It's just mental.
It's amazing to think that the franchise survived and thrived the way it has, given that was the level of kind of care that went into like the most exciting moment of the show. It was like, I mean, this seems terrible, but let's just go with it.
I feel like it's really evolved over the years.
I mean, when you look back at that touchdown slate at the time when you had the fence, and like she must have had like 10, 12 shows in production at any given time with a real like, we're going to have 9 absolute corpses come out of this thing, but we might have 2 or 3 that work. That was the approach. Great era.
Funny that the laptop trivia test show was the one that made it through and actually probably had like the longest life. The every 5 days elimination, as someone who's been on the island, feels kind of like a luxury because, you know, if you make it through elimination, then you've got another 5 days before you have to worry about it again. But it seems very awful for production.
It's just very costly.
I watched a little bit of the last episode, and it was just down to 2 contestants. So for a whole episode, they just had 2 contestants, and they just seemed to be like roaming around in the bush looking for something, and lots of talking head stuff of just these 2 people. It was quite dull. And then, but the worst part was when Pieter Keating went on to host the show. She came second, and she's like, oh, now I'm just stuck with old mate for the next few days. You know, he was a friend up till now, but now he's competition. I'm like, they did 5 days for the final 2 as well. It's just wild. I've done some sleuthing on Levi Bowen because lest we forget, Levi, our first ever winner of Treasure Island, he moved to the States in 2000. Living in Tennessee. He's loving Jesus and being a dad of 2. He married a lovely lady over there, and he is a coach in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's travelling all over the world, documenting it on Instagram with the family. He's just being very adventurous and building a 120 square foot, super high-end tiny home. 128 square feet is just shy of 12 square metres for the metric heads above us. Very small, but high-end. Yeah. So
wow. Still have the old nipple ring?
I did not. I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't tell you conclusively.
I could tell you. I feel like nipple rings are profoundly incompatible with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, that's so true.
It's just very sore.
Isn't Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu what Max Key
Yeah, it's
did?
like MMA. It's one of the core fighting styles as part of mixed martial arts.
Have you you've had a piercing that you no longer have?
Nope.
Never?
Never.
What about you, Alex?
Never sully my flesh.
What about that tattoo that you had lasered
Apart
off?
from that.
I had my belly button pierced and my nose pierced.
Gone.
Both gone. Yeah, my body rejected it. That's why you don't get piercings behind a dairy in Masterton.
Good.
In front of the dairy or not at all?
If you take nothing else away from this episode, it's that I had an eyebrow piercing and the scar lives on forever. I wish I didn't, but you know, life's full of regrets.
Is it time?
It's time. Okay, who's announcing this big news? Duncan, go on.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like we should have talked
I think it's
about
very
this
real
more.
pod to just be springing out. Okay.
Okay.
So we had a meeting last week, which felt like it had been a long time coming, and was sort of related to previous meetings, where we've been trying to figure out what to do about RealPod, particularly in the sort of often lengthy spells between the big reality shows,
Of which we are in one right now.
and we're in one right now. And the show it's just different in that period of time, and we want to find a way to kind of make it as fun and hooky all the time as it is when there's a big show on. And we think we've cracked it. It's going to change, and it should still have all the bits that you know and love, but it'll have this kind of new core to it. And we're not going to tell you what that is. You're going to have to wait.
But you're going to love it.
You are going to love it.
We know you guys well enough to know that you're going to love it. And it's something we're very comfortable with and that we end up in this world constantly anyway.
It feels very connected to the community.
Yeah.
Like it will interact with the cornies as well as anything we've ever done. Might even have a new name, have a new format, but I think you'll still love it.
I actually think it's going to be the best bits of us.
Yeah.
Concentrated into a glorious offering. And sort of a multifaceted one, but more on that later. So, I mean, it's really big news because it's going to be like a massive change while keeping all the best bits that you know and love about us. And we can't tell you more. And I know that you probably expected us to announce that we were having a real pod baby or something because we built this up so much. But it is going to be huge, and we just couldn't not share the fact that big, great things are coming with you, and we will let you know more as soon as we can. And in the meantime, just the usual until we can tell you more.
It's like when the Kardashians left E! And went to Hulu, and it just was heaps better, as Alex just described.
Except for maybe not the third season, which is quite bleak, as Alex just described. The good parts. The good parts. No, it's gonna be amazing. And we just have to leave you hanging. All right. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Duncan.
Bye. Kia ora, I'm Alex Casey, senior writer at The Spinoff. We wouldn't exist without the ongoing support of our generous members. If you're able to, you can make a donation at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
Kia ora e te iwi, Te Aihe Butler here, podcast manager at The Spinoff. If you enjoy listening to our podcasts, consider supporting our mahi by signing up to become a Spinoff member at thespinoff.co.nz/donate. The Spinoff Podcast Network.